Strawberry milk is amazing. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video we are going to be going over the top 10 best Plymouths of all time. We're only doing 10. This is part whatever to our multi-part series where we go over the top 25 best cars from each car brand. We're only going to be doing 10 for Plymouth though, because A, I don't even know that much about the 10 that are already in this list, and B, I honestly don't even think they made 25 Plymouths. So I was like looking it up, trying to find it until 25, and I was like, you know what, it would just get so boring if we were talking about 25 cars and the majority of them, because like the majority of these Plymouths that were different were just like different trim levels of already existing Plymouths, you know what I mean? So we're just gonna go with the top 10, narrow it down to the 10 best Plymouths instead of doing 25 today, because I figured it would be just so much easier. Song of the day is called Bad Tings by Zoe Dallas. It's a rap song obviously, but it's more like a, I don't even know how you describe it. Just go give it a listen. Go give it a listen. Okay, that's all I can say. Go give her a listen. But yeah, like I said in the beginning of the video, strawberry milk is absolutely incredible. Guys, let me explain something to you. Fun Mark Roden fact, am a little bit of a big old baby head and am lactose intolerant. Okay, I can't eat it. It makes me like poop my brains out. It's horrible. I mean, I do anyways, but I shouldn't. And so I was always like, oh man, I can't drink milk anymore. I got some lactose-free milk, man. I've been drinking strawberry milk like it's going out of style. It tastes exactly like regular milk. It has the same amount of protein in it and everything. I was so excited. It's like finding gold. I feel like the man, the myth, the legend. But without further ado, let's go right into the list with number 10. But yeah, strawberry milk's great. It's amazing. All right, and coming in at the old number 10 spot is a bit of a weird boy. It's the XNR. Speaking of strawberry milk, by the way, I just finished my third glass of strawberry milk for the day, and it's only 4:47 p.m. I love it, man. I'm actually like addicted to it. I feel like a 10-year-old kid, man. I've been drinking strawberry milk all the time. Either way, the XNR, it's a prototype, like concept car. I'm sure you've seen it like once or twice before and completely forgot about it. I know I did. It was a car where when I was looking it up, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, that thing exists. I completely forgot that ever even existed in the first place. It's one of the only Plymouths though where it's like, it's its own thing, you know. The vast majority of Plymouths are obviously just rebadged Dodges with some slight altercations to make them look different, but for the most part they're pretty much just Dodges. But the XNR, like, this is a full-on, it's a Plymouth. Like, this is 100% a just purebred Plymouth. It's a very weird looking car. I personally don't like the looks of it. I don't know how its performance did. Nobody really knows how its performance was because it was just so freaking rare. They never really raced it or anything like that, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's a good car and everything. It's cool and it's a piece of Plymouth's history for sure, but since it's just like so exclusive and not even really a real car, I don't think I deserves any higher than 10th. Coming in at the old number 9 spot, however, is going to the Plymouth Valiant. The reason why I'm putting the Valiant so low here at the number 9 spot is it's just like, performance wise, it's a good one. Okay, it's a good Plymouth. It's not one you would write home about, but it's a good one. But looks wise, it's probably the most boring like 70s muscle car I've ever seen, and that's saying much. It's just like, think of if you don't know what the Plymouth Valiant is, think of what you expect a 70s muscle car, not even muscle car, like 70s just American car to look like. And that is the Plymouth Valiant. Like, it just looks, it's just so, it has like none of its own like distinct features. It's just a box on wheels, and that's just a little bit boring to me. I understand again the performance, like people like turning these things into drag cars, and there's definitely a community for the Valiant out there, but for me personally, I've never been the biggest fan of them. Coming in at 8th place though is a car that I was a pretty large fan of here, the Plymouth Duster. The Duster is just, it's iconic. The Plymouth, if in 2025, let me explain something to you guys. In 2025, if you decide to go take your wee little butt cheeks on down to your local drag strip, and you get through all the people there that are very obese and pushing into you, and they all smell like French fries, and you're like, oh, okay, there must be a French fry stand nearby, and there's not. They just smell like it. It's like their cologne. If you manage to get through all that, you will see probably 20 Plymouth Dusters there. They are one of the most like popular applications for a like drag car right now. I honestly don't know why, because they're not even that cheap. It's mind-blowing. It's like people are buying these things even though they're pretty freaking expensive. In terms of looks, in my opinion, they've always just looked like a more aggressive Plymouth Valiant. Like, that's exactly the way I get, like, it looks like a better looking, more curved off Plymouth Valiant, and I like that, so that's why it gets one spot higher. Coming in at the old number 7 spot, however, is kind of the complete opposite of the Plymouth Duster. It's the Plymouth Fury. Fun fact, my dad has one of these. Before you're like, what? He has a Plymouth Fury? It is probably in the worst shape of any Plymouth Fury you would ever see. So no, it's not like he has like some crazy car. It's not that great. But the Plymouth Fury, the reason why I said it's a lot different than the Duster is, you know how back in the day, you know how American car brands, they either went one of two routes with their cars. They either made one of the coolest cars we've ever seen in the entire world, and it's like the fastest thing in a straight line ever. Somehow it can beat freaking F-35 jets and freaking, what are those, Su-27s, Su-27s? I think those are the Asian ones there. It's like the fastest thing ever. Or they went with the incredibly large, very luxurious, really cool design on it. Well, that's the Plymouth Fury. The Plymouth Fury is not a fast car, but it's a nice looking lowrider style car, like people that has got those nice flares on the back, and there are people that love that. Me personally, I don't really care too much about that. I'd rather have like a muscle car that can perform well, but I understand there's a big community for these cars out there. And coming in at the number 6 spot, kind of fits that exact same bill actually. It's the Plymouth Belvedere. One of, if I got to be honest with you, one of the coolest names for a not coolest, but like prettiest names. Like I can see a girl being named Belvedere, and I'd be like, well, it's nice to meet you, Belvedere. She'd probably be like 80 years old, just like this car is, but she'd still be like a cool person to talk to. Either way, there's like kind of two generations. There's the 50s Belvederes and then the 60s Belvederes. I like the 60s a little bit better. The 50s just look exactly like the Plymouth Fury we were just talking about, and again, I'm not really the biggest fan of like vehicles like that. I don't really care about that. The 60s went for more of the like muscle car approach on them, and they look just so good. They're like a Plymouth Valiant, but like just so much more like Pontiac GTO style, and it looks so much better in my opinion. I know it's not based off of Pontiac GTO. I know Pontiac's GM and Plymouth is Dodge or Mopar, Hemi, whatever you want to call it, but still, it's Chrysler, that's the word I was looking for, Chrysler. But still, it's awesome compared to the Valiant. And coming in at the old number 5 spot, however, is going to the Plymouth GTX. The Plymouth GTX also has like 2 different generations here. There's the 70s GTX, which is the one that I personally like a whole lot better, and then the 60s GTX, which kind of looks just like a Roadrunner, if I'm being honest. I really can't tell the difference between the Roadrunners and the 60s GTXs. The 70s, though, these things, I don't know what they were going for with the design here, but it worked. It's got, Plymouth has, I'm going to explain something to you. Plymouth has probably the best looking muscle cars of all time. Madden NFL 25 just installed on my Xbox, so if you heard that, I'm sorry. But they have some of the best, like the 71 Plymouth GTX is to die for, man. If these things weren't $7 million for just like one single lug nut on it, I would have one by now, because they are just such gorgeous cars, and you really don't see that much of them either. I feel like if you go to a track shop, you're not going to see that much. The looks are definitely divisive, I would say. Like I can see how some people would not like how these cars look, but I freaking love them, man. They're absolutely incredible. And then performance wise, they're also just 10 out of 10s. However, coming in at the number 4 spot is going to one of the more iconic ones, the Plymouth Barracuda. Not the Hemi Cuda. I know they're kind of pretty much the same thing. I get that, and I know you're probably like, well, that's kind of cheating. This one, we're more talking about the 60s Barracudas, not the 70s basically Hemi Cudas. We're talking about the 60s Barracudas, and those ones in particular are, in my opinion, pretty freaking cool. I don't know if I like them looks wise as much as I like the GTX, but performance wise, they're definitely the better option. And then if you talk about the 70s Barracudas as well, like I said, they're pretty much just Hemi Cudas but watered down a little bit, and those are just good cars. Now we're going to talk about the Hemi Cuda here shortly though, so I'm not going to waste too much time on this one. Third place, however, is going to be going to the Plymouth Roadrunner. Probably I would argue it's its second most popular, most well-known car of all time. The Plymouth Roadrunner is still to this day like one of the world's most popular muscle cars, and for good freaking reason, man. They just nailed that like boxy design with this car. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the 60s, they a lot of car brands were just making like random boxy things. Pontiac GTO is the big one that I can think of. The Mustang, the first generation Mustang, was just a box. Like every car was just boxy back then, and this is obviously also a pretty boxy car too, but they really worked with that boxy design and made it just absolutely freaking incredible. And then they went on to turn the Roadrunner into just something even crazier. which is the Plymouth Superbird. There we go. The second place is going to the Plymouth Superbird. But yeah, the Plymouth Superbird is it's iconic at this point. It's so much better than the Charger Daytona. I just want to put that out there, by the way. People make like the arguments that the Charger, I get that they're literally like the exact same car. I understand that. But people get that, like, get it in their head that the Charger Daytona can even hold a freaking candle to the Superbird. And that, my friends, is blasphemy. The Superbird is just so much cooler. It looks so much more aggressive. It fits the body of the Roadrunner significantly better than it fits the body of the freaking Charger. It works so much better on the Plymouth Roadrunner for some reason. I don't know why that is, but it just is. And then on top of that, obviously, for those who don't know, this car had an absolutely unbelievable performance in NASCAR. Like it was I believe the first production car to reach 200 miles per hour. It's kind of an argument there where it's like some people say it's the Superbird / Charger Daytona, but some people say it's the Ferrari F40. I don't really know exactly which one it was. I think it's probably this one. And they're so freaking rare, man, too. They're just gorgeous in every single way as well. And then that massive wing on the back. The fact that people didn't like this car when it came out, people thought this car was too much over the top. It was like the FK7 Type R to them. They were like, oh, it's riced from factory. No, it was cool from factory, you morons. Honorable mention, because I figured we might as well at least give you guys an honorable mention since we're not doing 25 today. It's the Plymouth Prowler. The Plymouth Prowler is cool in its own way. It's obviously, you know, take it or leave it. There are some people that like it, some people that do not like it. I personally am not the biggest fan of it, but it's just so unique. And at this point, it's so well known. Do you guys know how, like, when you see, like, one of those slingshots on the road nowadays, you know what I'm talking about? Those, like, three-wheeled weird vehicles. You're always kind of like, that guy's got balls, you know? It's like, why would you buy that? Like, I personally would never buy it. Well, this was like that before that car was a thing. Like, I remember back when we were kids and somebody would see a Plymouth Prowler driving on the road and you'd just be like, why? You know, why did you buy it? I respect it because it's just so weird, but why did you spend your money on that? But first place, and a surprise to absolutely nobody, if you know me, then you know how much I love the Plymouth Hemi Cuda. The Plymouth Hemi Cuda is probably my favorite muscle car of all time. If not this one, then the 69 Charger. I'm not even a Dodge guy. I know it sounds like I am in this video. I'm not. I'm a Chevy guy. I like modern Chevys 1,000,000 times more than I like modern Dodges. The only modern Dodge I think is even somewhat cool nowadays is the Vipers, and those are unfortunately not even being made anymore. So I'm a massive Chevy guy. Like, I love Chevy cars. I think they're awesome. But in terms of the 60s, 70s era, yeah, there's nobody that did it like Dodge. The Hemi Cuda is incredible. It took an already unbelievably cool car, which is the Dodge Challenger. The 70s Challengers are already unbelievably gorgeous cars. They took that and somehow made it better. Like, how is that even possible? You give me a man who can make a 70s Challenger better, and I will find you the next president of the United States of America, because that man is the smartest man ever. I don't know why I said that. It's not like our presidents are always the smartest ever, but you get what I'm saying. The Hemi Cudas are unbelievable. The fact that they improved on an already incredible chassis, like, dude, and then look at them. Look at them. Give me a plum crazy Plymouth Hemi Cuda with the black little, you know, weird design there on the back with the little hood scoop, and I would be the happiest man in the world. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the top 10 best Plymouth Hemi Cudas. I'm sorry that we couldn't do 25, but like I said, it was hard for me to even find 10 that I knew about, you know, and then I don't want to, sometimes I do that. I'll be like, oh, top 25 Mitsubishis, as a matter of fact. This is one of the ones where I was like, I didn't really know much about what I was talking about. Hyundai is another one. I did the top 25 Hyundais, and there was a lot of Hyundais in there that I didn't know anything about, and I felt like an idiot because I would be like, yeah, this car looks pretty cool, and then somebody would leave in the comments and would be like, yeah, that car does look kind of cool, but it sucked. And so I didn't want to do that again with Plymouth, and so there was other Plymouths I could have included, but I didn't know anything about them, and most of them looked exactly like another Plymouth that already existed. So I was just like, this is pointless. Like, I just decided 10 would be easier, 10 would make more sense for me personally, so that's the one we're going with. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like these. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see in the comment section down below, and that's Vidanya. Have a nice night.